Welcome to the Open Bedroom Podcast. I'm your host, Jennifer Kalo. Welcome to conversations about open relationships, online dating, conscious uncoupling, and creating the relationship that truly aligns for you. If you enjoy this podcast, I hope that you do a couple things for us. Would you subscribe? Would you write a review? Maybe share us with your friends. And if you extra like us, there's a link in the show notes here for my Patreon that does help pay for the creation of this podcast. And lastly, follow us on the Open Bedroom. We are on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. I hope you enjoy the show. Hey there, I love to tell you about my Patreon account. So as many of you know, as things become more and more censored, it's harder for content creators like us to stay live on these amazing platforms like TikTok and Instagram and YouTube. So what I've done is our spicier content now lives over on Patreon. We currently have some really fun episodes up, like how to give amazing blowjobs. I also just recorded and uploaded my night in a dungeon with a dominatrix. What can you expect? Weekly episodes and weekly content, some of it being sex ed, some of it being story and erotic telling, like I just did with my night in the dungeon, some of it being more podcasting where we have a guest on. So for an entry price right now of $5 per month, you can hop into my Patreon account and check it out. Check the show notes below for more information. Hope to see you there. Bye. Welcome back to the podcast. Today you have a solo episode with me. And I thought today I would share what is polyamory. So hi, Jennifer Kalo. I'm a sex and relationship coach. And I've noticed lately I've been getting clients who are brand new to opening up their relationship. And I like to go through a couple different kind of check boxes with new people that are coming into the lifestyle because they want to jump right in. They'll say, how do I start dating? How do we start hooking up with people? How do I not get jealous? Like there's all of these things that come up that are concerning for them. And so I'm like, okay, let's start with what kind of open do you even want to be? And so I'll go over what is polyamory, which I'm going to do right now. The next question I'll answer is what is swinging? The third one I'll say, okay, here's kind of a hybrid of the two. And then once you define what kind of open you are, then you need to define your dynamic. So as I lead clients through these, again, kind of check boxes so that we can identify what kind of open they are, them and their partners, I usually spend a little bit of time on what is polyamory and what is swinging. So that's what I'm going to do today. It's going to be a kind of a short episode where I just cover what is polyamory. And I'll have another episode in 2 weeks that comes out that's what is swinging. And then I'm going to do another episode 2 weeks after that, just called How to Open Your Relationship. And I'll take you guys through these questions again. I do have a free opening up guide this is literally what I walk everyone through, and I will put the link in the show notes below. So make sure and grab that guide. It's full of resources. I have links to podcasts, links to books, other questions, things for you to do some research on, because if you haven't opened your relationship yet and you want to talk to your partner, I don't want you to go into that conversation blind. You really need to be educated in the way that you're going to be asking for what you want from your partner, which means that you need to do a little bit of homework yourself first. So I have several bullets that I'm going to cover today on what is polyamory. Okay. The first thing that I think helps define what is polyamory is to realize what is swinging and what is polyamory and how are they drastically different. So again, I'm going to do a separate episode on swinging. And today is all about what is polyamory. So polyamory is what I would consider to be very heart centered. It's relationship, it's connection, it's love. Polyamory means multi-love. Amory is love. So the kind of person that would be interested in polyamory is someone probably demisexual, meaning they need to intellectually and from their heart connect with you before they can get in bed with you. They need to have connection to feel attraction. And so the reason that polyamory is such a great choice in terms of different ways to be open in the lifestyle is you spend time getting to know other people and you spend time building a connection. Now, again, if we look at the opposite, swingers are terrified of connection. They are not interested in getting to know you personally. It's a transaction. Sex is a transaction for them. It's no strings attached. And again, I'll get into more of that in 2 weeks. But so as we think about polyamory, it's the opposite. And there's multiple different ways to be poly, and I'm going to go through each one of them in just a minute. So we talked about it being very heart-centered. It's, I want to know your heart. I want to know who you are as a person. I want to know what you like. I want to know what you don't like. I want to know what your favorite food is. Hey, we're going on a date this weekend. Let's start planning it now. Again, very different than swinging, which might look like I go to a club and my intention is to pick someone up, or my intention is to have sex at the club. This is very, hey, what kind of week have you had? And how can I make you feel important and special and loved and filled up on our date this Saturday? Okay. So I guess let me take a minute and talk about why Scott and I are polyamorous, and also to give you a caveat. The caveat is what I am finding in my coaching business is typically one of the partners is very polyamorous. They're very much into connection. They want to care about the people that they're sleeping with. They want to have repeat sessions with people. It feels better to their nervous system. The other partner is generally anti-polyamory and very much into swinging. They might have abandonment issues. They might have feelings of jealousy. And I'm not saying it's wrong to be a swinger. I'm just saying there are reasons that you don't want your partner to form a connection with another person. And if that's the case, then you are going to be in the swinger bucket. Now, the way to make this work is to find middle ground, and that's where you can be a little of both. So you can tell your partner, I am only interested in having sex with other people. I don't want to be their best friend. However, I can agree that we can see someone more than once. So let's not go be their best friends and invite them over to vacation, but maybe if we slept with them once a month or once a quarter, that would be okay for me. So that's a great balance, right? Where like hardcore swinger would be one and done, because I don't want to form any connection with you. So the reason that Scott and I choose polyamory instead of swinging is we're actually both very polyamorous kinds of people. We love having deep connections. We are very, very mindful of our partners. We enjoy just digging deep and really getting to know you. And we enjoy seeing our partners more than once. In fact, we want long-term partners, people that continue to be a part of our life and continue to come in. It's pretty rare, I would say, to have two partners that are exactly in the same boat when it comes to how we date. I would say on a scale of polyamory, I am definitely the most poly out of the two of us. I want to meet your family. I want to know your husband or your wife. We only date women, so I want to know your husband. I want to have years of relationship together. And maybe one day when my kids are gone and it's just me and Scott, maybe we live in a little commune in the woods. Like that would just make me so excited. Scott's not quite to that depth, but he is definitely several steps into polyamory where we only see the same people for a long time. Okay, so let's talk about different types of polyamory, because this is where it gets really fun. And when you first check the box of I'm a swinger or I'm poly, then you get to decide what kind of poly, and this helps with your dynamic. This is where we get into dynamic conversations, okay? So, and I will make a swipey image for this week on my Instagram and on my other social channels. So if you, in fact, let me make another downloadable for this so that you guys have a copy of it. And I will put it in the links below. Okay, here we go. The first one is polyfidelity, which Scott and I have actually been in most of this year. Polyfidelity means that you are having sex with one or more people, but your circle is closed. So normal fidelity, right, in a monogamistic sense would be, a husband and a wife, or a husband and a husband, or a wife and a wife that are in this committed relationship. There is fidelity between the two of them, and no one's cheating, and no one's, even having ethically monogamous, non-monogamous sex outside of their relationship. Polyfidelity just means that within your group of people that you're having sex with, you're only having sex with each other. No one's going outside the group. So I guess we had a hybrid of this. Scott and I have been dating a woman since April, and the three of us had a closed triangle on our end. So Scott and I weren't dating anyone else except for her. Now, she was dating other people outside of us and still is. And so it's not quite polyfidelity, but you can imagine what that looks like. It would mean that she isn't seeing anyone but us. We're only seeing her. And we did have a relationship like this before our girlfriend. Now, the next one is solo poly. So I have several friends, including our girlfriend, who are single. They're not married. They're not partnered. There's no nesting partner that they're living with. They're solo people that are dating other people that are polyamorous in the lifestyle. That's solo poly. The next one is a hierarchical polyamorous relationship. So again, that's me and Scott. We are primary partners. We raise kids together. We live in the same house. We pay the mortgage together. There's hierarchy here. Like, I'm not going to pretend like there's not. If I have to choose, if I have to make a choice, but like how I'm going to spend my time or how I'm going to spend my money, or who is the most important human in my life, it's Scott. And for him, it's me. And for now, that's how it is. The next one is non-hierarchical polyamory. And I feel like this one works better if you don't have kids or they're no longer living at home. And you can have more than one partner. Like, so let's pretend that me, Scott, and our girlfriend are in a triad. We are also maybe polyfidelity. So we're closed, maybe. And we are non-hierarchical. That would mean that I would go to each one of them as equals within my life. If I had a major life change, like I wanted to take on a new job, then I would go to both of them and say, what do you guys think? She might even live with us, and we all have equal relationshiping. We might combine our 401ks. We might combine our resources, our money, and live together and pay bills together. And plan for a future together. We might even look at our assets and our will and our estate plans and consider the other two people equally in our estate plans. That's non-hierarchical polyamory. Okay, the next one I have is a throuple. So that would be, again, like Scott and our girlfriend and I, we're in a throuple. There's three of us. There is kitchen table polyamory, which I also checked this box. This means everyone within the relationship and their partners know each other. Now, I don't know every single one of our girlfriend's partners. I know a few of them, and she knows our partners. So we are now no longer closed. We have a second girlfriend. And the two of them hopefully soon will be meeting. We've talked to each other about the other one. Like, they are very well aware of each other. And that's kitchen table polyamory. It just means everybody knows about everybody. You don't have to hang out with each other. You don't have to sleep with each other. But I think in this particular case, we like it because we don't like secrets. We want to be completely open and transparent about who we're sleeping with, who we're sharing time with. And we hope that our partners like each other and maybe even want to hang out together. Okay, the last one that I have for you is parallel polyamory. This would look like if I had a partner and Scott had a partner, and I knew that he had a partner, but I didn't really want anything to do with her. I didn't need to know her. I don't need to hang out with her. She didn't need to come to my house. he can go do his thing. That's parallel. So it's two different relationships moving forward, but not together. Hope this makes sense. Okay. So this is wrapping up our conversation on what is polyamory. Let me do a recap. The first thing that you want to identify when you are going to open your relationship, where you have an open relationship that's undefined, is what kind of open do you want to be? Do you want to be polyamorous and have multiple relationships that you care deeply about, feel deeply about, love many people? Or do you want to be a swinger, which is you have sex just to have sex? It's very physical, it's sexual, and it's done. There's no connections and there's no feelings. There's definitely no love involved. Okay. We also covered all of the different ways to be polyamorous. This is called your dynamic. This is just one part of your dynamic, but it's important to identify I am poly or swinger. And then what kind of poly are you? And you can be multiple. So if I look at the list, Scott and I have a hierarchical throuple, and we are kitchen table. So that gives someone an idea coming into our relationship. How are we going to act? So when another woman comes into our relationship, we can say we're hierarchical, meaning Scott and I are the most important humans to each other, and our relationship will come first. Of course, we will love you, we will care for you, and you will be so important when you're here with us. But outside of the time that you're here with us, each other is our most important person. We are a throuple. So it's Scott and I and a third person. We only date women. So that's for us what that looks like. There is no couple swap. Like we don't do that. And then the last thing is kitchen table, meaning when you come into a relationship with us, you also have an opportunity to meet other women that we're dating, and they have the opportunity to meet you, should you be okay with that. And that's what we desire, is for everybody to know each other. I have the 2 free guides below. One is, how to open up your relationship. And the other one is I'm going to create a guide that I'll put below that is all of the different types of polyamory so that you have that in your back pocket. Please look over the free guide of how to open up your relationship, especially before you come to your partner and say, hey, I want to open things, because I want you to be educated and I want you to have the vocabulary and the knowledge to say, I want us to be polyamorous or swingers, and here's the dynamic that I want us to be. And then the other piece is, again, feel free to download the guide that has all of the different types of polyamory that you can be. I think that, again, is going to empower you as to how you structure your relationship. Okay, if this episode was helpful for you, will you, number one, share it? Share it on your social media, share it to a friend. You don't have to tell the world that you're in an open relationship. You could just share it and say, you know what? I found this kind of interesting. What do you guys think? Number two, would you please like this podcast? It helps me when you like it, you're subscribing. And whenever a new episode comes out, it helps you because you find out about it and you get to hear the next one. And then number three, if you would write a review, I don't believe you can on Spotify, but you can on Apple. It really helps. And I use those reviews as we are doing new episodes. Lastly, I want to talk to you about ways that you can support the show. So I have a Patreon. It has completely different content than what's here for free on podcasts. It's usually a bit racier, and I definitely don't have to filter myself. It's $5 a month. $5, you guys. And the $5 makes a difference. And so I'm going to put a link in the show notes below. The podcast, the Patreon actually sponsors this podcast. It helps pay for it. And then I guess that's it. Thank you so much for joining me. I can't wait in 2 weeks to come back, talk about swinging. And then in 2 more weeks after that, we'll talk about how to open up your relationship and the rest of the conversation that I have with my own clients. Have a great day.